I want to welcome to the program again Teresa Lusk. She's joined me before. She is both a pastor as well as a counselor. She focuses on faith, business, family, politics on her show, The Teresa Lusk Show. Welcome back, Teresa. Thanks for coming on with us.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So what's going on with this? There's no question. I mean, we can't deny that there is a more violent edge to American society than perhaps has ever been the case when we talk about just basic out there people living amongst each other. What's happening here?
I think that there is a lot of dehumanizing people right now. There's such a loss of, as you even said, the loss for valuing people, humanity in general. I think we have allowed so many different things to come into the picture to cause this. One of them, obviously, being social media. If you think about even the mass shooting that happened, which was actually 5 minutes away from my house and office, you recognize that when you start looking into or getting details of people's lives and the people that are doing this, you see a little bit of a trail where they were using social media to, say crazy things. And so there's something about our nation right now that we've become so cold with one another that anything that we become upset with, anything that we can find someone to disagree with us on, it becomes the okay to just take down life. And it's very concerning. As you said yourself, you reported the numbers. Seems like there's an increase in it right now. I definitely think mental health plays a big part. I think what a lot of people don't understand is that mental health there were already mental health issues, and then COVID hit. That, lit up the numbers up to about 25% globally. So now we're dealing with a lot of aftermath, and now we're having to see some of the repercussions. I think another thing that is actually happening, Leland, is that there's some disconnect with just human connection, one-on-one, spending time with people, connecting.
It's funny, Teresa Lusk. It's funny that you mentioned there's a couple avenues I want to go down with what you said there because it's really good stuff. A local media reporter who tends to lean way to the left, Kyle Clark, tweeted out about the Allen, Texas. There's video that came out. It was atrocious. I saw some of it. He said the video of those babies in Allen, Texas. How do you raise kids in a country that doesn't care if they live or die? And I thought that was ironic because of the cognitive dissonance that. You have somebody on the left who has supported what has become, Colorado has become like a radical sanctuary state for abortion. Mm-hmm. We're invoking that they have value out of the womb and not in the womb at the same exact time. And there's a moral cognitive dissonance, I think, that is happening in American society where on one hand, like you said, in politics, we devalue each other. We devalue life. We devalue, through policy, we devalue life. We won't prosecute criminals, but in some cases, we'll go after people who defend themselves against criminals. We will kill babies in the womb before they're born, but we are devastated when they're killed outside the womb. And there's this weird sort of cognitive dissonance that's developing in our society because we don't have an agreed upon moral north. I mean, our founding fathers weren't all necessarily quote unquote Christians, but they were deists in the sense that they recognized there was some kind of power in the universe that set things right, that said this is right and this is wrong and therefore helped define evil. We're trying to create a world today where there is no defined evil. It could be just whatever you think is evil, and then it allows real evil to flourish. It's a wild situation, Teresa.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm a faith person, so if you look at it biblically, that's already been proclaimed that would happen. Hearts would grow colder. And of course, it's easy to say that, life is precious outside of the womb because as long as you can't see it, you don't have to take responsibility. And unfortunately, it is tied in so many ways to politics. If we can, quote, support women's health care, really, and rights, well, that looks favorable upon that political party. So there are a lot of messes that politicians are using. And I will be honest, I think on both the left and the right in this season, there are some things that need to be taken care of. But definitely If you fight for being able to take a life, for an unborn baby, just the way that these people think is a little confusing. As you've seen the pattern, there's a lot of things that don't make sense that also contribute to some mental health. Listen, if you can't have some healthy foundations for life, including faith, including the importance of family, including the importance of closeness in family, spending time with your children, raising them up in some way that has some boundaries, this is what we're going to see. And I hate to say this, but it could only get worse if Americans don't pull back to some good, strong, family-based traditions.
Yeah, I agree with you. How much do you think COVID, you mentioned COVID, I wanted to go down that road briefly. How much do you think COVID played into this? Because there is definitely, we were going down this road prior to this, I think, with the advent of ubiquitous social media, but I think COVID really sliced the butter in a big way. How much do you think it had to do with it?
Quite a bit, actually. Some of the feedback that I've gotten from people on what happened to them during COVID is that there was a total loss of hope, and they broke it down for me. So they would say, well, the thing is that I felt like my life was over. All my goals that I had, they were no longer real. The dreams that I had, they were no longer going to be reachable. The relationships I was hoping to form, they were no longer accessible. And so it was all about everything. And some of this came from younger kids, 20 and 24 years old. So to them, their life was, done. And then I'm sure you saw the report where alcohol sales went way up. Well, if you take that, and these people are, getting drunk in their homes, and their children are witnessing this because the parents are afraid. I'm not even picking on them, but they're nervous. They don't know they don't have, healthy mental health habits, so they're depending on alcohol. But then the children are watching. So it creates a cycle. So I do believe that COVID played a huge part. It wasn't even so much COVID, it was the lockdown.
Yeah.
The lockdown.
No. Yep. Yeah, totally agree. Well, listen, thank you for popping in with us, and appreciate your time, and I'm sure we'll talk again. Teresa, appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
All right. It's Teresa Lusk, counselor, pastor, Dallas, Texas area. She's 4 miles from where that mass shooting took place.